one of the sort of more lighthearted things, you actually start the book off with this story about you packing fruit. And you scared the crap out of me. Never once in my life have I ever washed fruit.
Of course not.
Because I'm always that person who's like, how bad can it be?
How bad can it be? And sometimes they have those stickers that say, ready washed.
Yeah.
So as I say in the book, you should always wash your fruit. You should always wash your salad. Because unless times have changed drastically, when I worked in this industry, that is the fruit packing industry, every now and then a punnet of fruit would go tumbling off the conveyor belt onto the floor, and we would just scoop that stuff up with all the grime, all the dirt, put it back in and send it straight off to the supermarket, where it and before that it probably got a ready washed sticker on it. So even if I'm buying it from Woolies, you just can't be too sure.
But here's what I really want to ask you. It's that you're not that old, but you've had the most fascinating jobs in all sorts of interesting...
I'm actually 72.
Well, damn, you look good.
Thank you. No, I'm not that old.
But I mean, you for being a young South African, you've had some flipping cool different jobs. You've worked with a dictionary, you've packed fruit, you've made fake online dating profiles.
Do you know what it was though? I just took such a long time to come to a decent kind of career, a respectable career. And I think
that your faking online dating profiles is perfectly respectable.
A lot of people would disagree, I think. I mean, it is everyone's worst fear when they start internet dating that some of the people you're corresponding with aren't real. And it's true. I mean, I was one of those people. I was literally paid to set up these fake personas for internet dating sites and mass message thousands of people at a time with these generic messages. Hi, hun, fancy a chat? And then, go back and forth. That does happen. But now I'm a journalist, and that's all good, and I hope I won't ever have to do any of those jobs ever again until I get exposed as, a racist or a communist or whatever else people have going on in our very strident public sphere.
Well, thankfully, I mean, the comments aren't exactly an accurate reflection of reality. Because then we would all be in serious trouble. I would be a hideous monster whose nose was so big it was taking over her face. Literally, that's what's
I just think that's unfair.
I think so too.
Yeah.
But again, I cried over that one. Why? I mean, I know better, but it gets to you.
Well, how can it not? I mean, is it any different to a schoolyard bully telling you that? You may think that bully is an idiot, but bludgers.
It hurts.
Please, be nice to her in the comments.
Now, I want to talk about some of the stuff that you've written this week for Daily Maverick, and you've been quite vocal about Mmusi Maimane and his stance on gay marriage. A lot of people pointing out that Mmusi's been really cool about civil unions, but is hesitant to use the words marriage or give it any type of legitimacy when it comes to a spiritual sense of what many people believe marriage to be. And you followed this up with a piece today, but earlier this week you wrote that it doesn't really matter, and correct me if I'm getting this wrong, about people's personal beliefs on whether gay South Africans should be afforded exactly the same rights as South Africans who aren't gay, as long as the Constitution upholds it. And I want to ask why you believe that. Does it not bother you, though, Rebecca, that despite the fact that leaders may say, yeah, look, I believe that you should have the same rights as us on paper, their hearts don't reflect that?
Yeah, I really did think about this a lot. And in a way, what I said in that particular piece was quite defeatist. I said basically what you said, that, if Mmusi Maimane personally, if he holds these religious beliefs, that he can, he can be friends with gay people, but up to a point, in his heart of hearts, he still thinks that homosexuality is some kind of aberration. Then, I can't do anything about that. And it doesn't necessarily lead me to believe that Mmusi Maimane hates me or anything. It's just, it seems to me to be the reality of his theology. And what can I do about that? If he doesn't actively obstruct progress on gay rights, then why should I have a problem with that? I might feel personally, might make me personally less want to have Mmusi Maimane over for dinner, for instance. But
you could just give him something horrendous to eat, unwashed fruit.
But I was thinking about it more, actually, because he then wrote this follow-up where he sort of was trying to explain a little bit more about what he meant in the comments, which have been now widely exposed, that he made at his church, Liberty Church in Johannesburg last year. And I think also I have to admit, the problem is that I'm not a Christian, so I'm not versed in his language of theology. So he speaks of a theology of grace, a theology of this. And to be honest, it's not a language that I understand. So when he talks about sinners and sickness, perhaps it's possible that he means something completely different that I don't get. And, from that perspective, maybe it's churlish of me to interpret it at face value. Although, at the same time, that's giving him a lot of credit, because if somebody calls you sick, your first impulse perhaps is not to be like, oh, let's unpack that. Let's see what you really mean. I thought it was amazing that in a column for the Daily Maverick this week, Mmusi Maimane outright said he thought that the DA, the Democratic Alliance, was wrong to give their MPs a vote of conscience on gay marriage in 2006. And what that means is that at the time when the Civil Unions Bill was being debated in Parliament, the ANC told their MPs, you have to vote in favour of it, because they knew that if they allowed MPs a vote of conscience on it, it probably wouldn't pass, because a lot of ANC MPs also would struggle with their religious consciences. Democratic Alliance, in contrast, was like, you guys can vote however your heart dictates. This week, Mmusi came out and he said, no, that was a mistake. If it was up to him, he would have made sure that DA MPs vote according to according to gay marriage. And I thought, what more can you ask from a politician, really? That made me very happy to read.